Hello everyone, Mike Good, founder of Togetherness, an online resource helping Alzheimer's and dementia caregivers succeed. I'm always looking to create a better way of learning so that you can get the information you need quick and in an easy to understand format. And Facebook Live is a great opportunity to do that. So thank you for tuning in live, or maybe you're going to catch the replay later. I'm so glad you're here. Last week we had a great turnout, and I'm looking forward to it again this week. Now last week, right here on this together in this page, we discussed how the home may be contributing to undesirable dementia behaviors and undermining your actions and possibly speeding up decline. This week, I want to talk more specifically about the 4 elements of the home that you must focus on to reduce the need for antipsychotics and other off-label medications. Now please understand, I am not a doctor, and doctors should always be consulted quite often in this instance. I am a researcher, and I'm passing on to you what I have learned over the years. But you may be asking, why not use antipsychotics? And in some instances, maybe you should be. But it's up to you to be informed about the effects this may have. So let's explore that a little bit first. Now if you're watching me, just go ahead and please let me know. Type into the chat, say hi, let me know there's people out there. I appreciate that. So antipsychotics are what are considered off-label. Now when a drug is used for a disease it hasn't been approved to treat, that is considered off-label. Antipsychotics are a class of psychiatric medication primarily used to manage psychosis. And psychosis is characterized as a disconnection from reality. In particular, like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, but not dementia. Antipsychotics, along with antidepressants, ADHD drugs, anti-anxiety medications, and mood stabilizers, change brain function and results in alterations in perception, mood, or consciousness. When prescribed for our loved ones, it's generally for agitation, aggression, sleeplessness, depression, hallucinations, and delusions. This is because they have a calming and sedative effect. Now this decreases the individual's quality of life because they're no longer able to fully engage in activities with other people. Now several studies out there suggest that more than 2/3 of all prescriptions are inappropriate in dementia care. And in 2005, the FDA noted or announced, if you will, that the use of antipsychotics in dementia care increases a person's risk of death by 1.6 to 1.7 times. That's a substantial increase. The list of potential side effects is extensive, and everyone is different. So it's really up to you to understand how and pay attention to how they may be affecting your loved one if you've chosen to go that route. Now your goal should always be to use these drugs as a last resort for a minimal duration and only after drug interventions are tried. Let me reiterate that a little bit. A minimal duration. Many of our loved ones with Alzheimer's or other dementia have been put on antipsychotics on a permanent basis, and that is not how they're intended to be used. Now last week we touched on ways to improve the home to help reduce or even eliminate undesirable behaviors. Now these behaviors, which we often medicate for, are often triggered by the environment. Every person and home environment is unique, and how a person interacts with their environment may change from moment to moment. Now this complicates a situation which is already difficult. So when people ask me what they can do to the home to help reduce undesirable behaviors so they can minimize or completely avoid meds, I talk to them about how first they have to accept that they can't change the person. Of course, it's the disease, right? We can't change literally damage to the brain that's causing them to have these new behaviors or actions. So it's easier to change the environment that's around them by focusing on 4 elements. Now, these 4 elements include safety, function, stimulation, and the reduction or elimination of triggers. Now, I'm going to talk about each of these briefly in a moment, or now. These 4 elements all work together and need to be in balance with the care partners. That's the person with dementia and you, the primary caregiver. That helps to create what I refer to as an Alzheimer's or dementia-friendly home. Now, safety promotes independence and individualism while helping family members have peace of mind. That's because the individual is allowed to still move about the home, and the care partners, the family have peace of mind that that's okay, that their loved one's not going to be in danger, that they're not going to exit the home and become lost, that they're not going to get into poisons or medicines or other things that may be harmful to them. So safety involves what you can do not only to prevent those issues and accidents from happening in the first place, but also being prepared in case that they do. So we want to address the physical hazards which may cause harm and the behavioral issues from the disease which may put them in harm's way. But very importantly also, we want to be prepared to respond in case something does happen. That means having emergency contacts and all available for anybody that's in the home, having a plan of action in case a loved one does fall ill or fall down or something happens, how we're going to get them to the hospital, being prepared to deal with the situation. Functionality in the home empowers a person to complete tasks on their own or with minimal assistance. This is very important to help minimize or eliminating negative emotions that stem from frustration. Often anger and depression and emotions like that stem from frustration that we're no longer able to complete something successful. Something that we've done for years is now hard or out of our ability. Your goal with function is to create an environment which prolongs your loved one's ability to perform activities of daily living such as home maintenance, preparing meals, bathing, dressing, etc. We want to help them with what I call silent assistance. Instead of pointing out their mistakes or getting on their butt when they're not getting their shirt put on properly, you merely silently help them do it. If they can't find the peanut butter in the counter, you don't tell them, you know where it is. It's been there, same place for 20 years. No, you take the peanut butter out and you put it on the counter where they can see it. You want to turn what would become an unsuccessful outcome into a successful outcome. And we do that by improving the function in the home. So strategies that help create successful outcomes promote their autonomy by increasing their confidence, prolonging their independence, and maintaining a sense of purpose. Again, it's all about turning failures into successes. Now, stimulation brings joy. So we've talked about safety and function, the first 2 items. Now we're going to talk about stimulation. Stimulation brings joy, lifts one's spirit, and results in feelings of purpose and accomplishment. We all need stimulation. We all need to stay active. We all are engaged. But for us that don't have dementia, a lot of that just comes naturally and it's part of our everyday routine. But for the person who's experiencing cognitive decline, that becomes a much bigger struggle and a bigger role for the caregiver to help do. So your goal using stimulation is to foster an enjoyable environment where your loved one stays mentally and physically active and engaged. And hopefully the both of you smile more, because this improves everyone's life and it helps reduce unwanted behaviors. Now, a stimulating environment should include activities they enjoy and they want to do. These may not be the same activities that they've always wanted to do. It may be new things. You have to stay, you can't just assume that because Dad didn't like to do this before, he won't like to do it now, or that he liked to do it yesterday, so he's going to like to do it today. If you've been a caregiver for any amount of time, you know it just doesn't work that way. And every day you have to stay creative and adapt. So activities they enjoy and want to do, not activities they're forced to do. These activities can be passive, such as bird watching or watching the children in the park. But with passive, I recommend it's not just sitting in there and using that as a babysitter, as people have done with television sets for years. Unless, they're watching their favorite show, Oprah or I don't know, the Andy Griffith Show or something. If they're really getting a kick out of that show, then that's good. But if we're putting them in front of the news and having that be a babysitter, that's not good. So if you're bird watching, it should be together. You should be holding each other's hand. It should be, or it can be active, like dancing. Dancing and moving about is a great way because we're using music, we're getting the body moving, we're having fun, we're holding hands. So, stimulation is a very important aspect of the Alzheimer's friendly home that we're talking about today. And the environment should create an opportunity to exercise and have movement, such as with dancing. We need to be up and about, and it should also include sensory stimulation through smells, sounds, touch, and taste. And I elaborate more on that in some articles on Together in this. So we've talked about the first 4 elements of an Alzheimer's friendly home that will help us hopefully to minimize and avoid the use of antipsychotics, because we're reducing behavioral triggers, or we're avoiding negative emotions and the unwanted, undesirable behaviors. So safety, function, and stimulation, they all work together, because now our loved one is able to stay more active, they're having more success in getting things done, they're being stimulated and active, so we're reducing the behavioral triggers that come and create unwanted behaviors. So your goal regarding triggers in the home is to learn how to identify the trigger or triggers which are negatively affecting your loved one's behavior. Now, we talked pretty extensively about this in last week's broadcast, so if you want, you can view that video, or go to my Together in this page where I share a link in a few moments. So your takeaway today, for those who appreciate you all being here, so your takeaway today should be to think about how you can improve your loved one's environment by improving and bringing into balance these 4 elements: safety, function, stimulation, and the reduction of triggers. This helps us reduce these undesirable emotions and behaviors and eliminate the need for medications. That pretty much, and if your loved one is on medications and they have been for a while and you're wondering about that, please make sure you have, you fill out a medication report that lists all the medications, and that includes anything they ingest, any over-the-counter meds, vitamins, supplements you may be giving them, and have a geriatric psychiatrist, not your general practitioner or your neurologist. Have the geriatric psychiatrist look that over and discuss with them how your loved one acts or performs throughout the day. I got to tell a quick story, because I just thought of, in a caregiver support group I was at, a gentleman's wife was declining fast, and because he didn't have the insurance, he hadn't taken her in to see the geriatric psychiatrist. And when he did, she took his wife off the back medication, pain medication that she was on. Now that's not an antipsychotic, but it's a medication, that's extra medication she was on, and suddenly she rebounded. She was able to start cooking again with assistance from him, but this was huge. They started going to local soccer games to see the grandchildren play. Again, he thought he thought those days were over, but because she was on an inappropriate medication, they were able to get life back and enjoy more time together. And it was just such an impactful thing to hear that I can't tell you enough how you need to have your medications routinely reviewed. So with that said, that ends the show for today. I appreciate everybody that attended, and if you ever have any questions, please either leave them in the chat or reach out to me through Together in This. Now, if you look up above, you'll see that I have a webinar scheduled on the top banner there of Together in This. And if you click on that, on February 28th, I'll have 2 different sessions where I'll talk for a lot longer and go into more detail on these 4 elements to help you reduce undesirable behaviors and triggers in your home. Now, these webinars are free, and we always have like almost 80 to 100 plus registrants, so they're pretty popular. So I highly recommend you can. Now, if you like this broadcast, please do me a favor and like it or love it and share it with other people so they can benefit from it as well. And if you want to focus more on the topic of creating an Alzheimer's friendly home for your loved one, I do have a Facebook group I recently created, and I just put the link in the chat for you to click on that, come over and join us, and appreciate it. And I also, if you want to read some articles from me, I also have a resource page on Together in This for you. So there you are. All right, again, thank everyone, and again, make sure you like and share this video for me. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye-bye.